1, 2, 3, super. Let's build. Start with a joke. I have an AWS CDK joke, but there might be a new version already. So let's build and let's grow. Okay. So this is a new. Now the overlay is gone again. This is a new version. No, I'm right. This is a new version of Let's Build, and today I'm doing certification survival guide, and as it seems, it's more than streaming survival guide to me. What's that all about? I've started the certification survival guide as a series of a few I wanted to say podcast of a few streams. Last week we did something about the basics and about the experiences from AWS certifications with my dear colleague Monica. You can watch it on Twitch or on YouTube. And now a topic which is near to my heart because not anybody seems to get it, that there is a way to learn smart. What is the problem? Let me show you. So if you start using, if you start, okay, with which I want to make an AWS certification. Maybe you start with a training. So you're doing the architecting training. And you have a timeline. So, and with the architecting training, we say, okay, you should at least take about 2 months of learning and practicing AWS. And then you start learning. And after 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months, you are doing your certification. And the problem is that there is a long time between that. And if you have learned something here, maybe you are at 100%, then if you don't repeat properly, your learning will degrade all the time and it will become 0. This is the one thing why I'm doing it. And the other thing is that some also colleagues, some people think, okay, I'm a quick learner. I learn best if I cram everything into my head. And after that, I know everything. So they're using the video, for instance, the Cloud Guru. They're watching the video, and this is about 10 hours or 12 hours. And they're watching it in one take. And they think they will know something about the first bits of information at the end of the stream. And this is not the fact. The fact is, if you start learning something and maybe here is 100%, and you have a few topics which can fit into your head, and after 1 hour, without proper repetition, you will degrade all the learning. And a week later, you know nothing about that. And so the idea to get every topics of the wide services from AWS in 1 take or 2 days and get something into your head is just wrong. The other thing is that in the certification, you do not have to prove that you have learned something. You have to prove that you can recreate something. And so some people miss the recreation step of the learning from AWS. So what you gonna do about it? I will show you some theory, and then I will show you the learning method from Tony Buzan, which I learned in the last century, and it's still a good learning method. And it's just about timing, and it's about repetition and recreating the content. Let's have a look at a little bit of theory. So this is, I need a jingle, Certification Survival Guide, Prepare Effectively, Part 1, Learning Basics. So it's about learning. How do you learn? And some people say, I learn this way, I learn that way. I better learn with exploring, I better learn with hearing, better learn with anything. That may be right, that there are different learning types, that is right. But we are all the same type from our brain. And so we need breaks. Learning takes time, the real learning is in the breaks. So if I learn some new stuff, you should only allow yourself to learn 45 minutes or an hour, not more. It has a reason that school lessons are that way. And after approximately 1 hour, you take a break of 10 minutes. And in this break, you're not doing some hard stuff. You are doing some recreational stuff, because in the back of your mind, all the things are coming together. And after the break, you have to repeat what you have learned. And repeat does not mean I'm hearing something, for instance, about EC2 pricing again. No, you try to recreate it. And this is a thing that some people do, and what really it stuns me. They have some questions they have to answer for the certification, and they look at the question and say, yes, I can answer that. Truthfully, yes, I can answer that. They are cheating yourself. You have to write down the answer so that you're really sure that you can have the answer. And if you write down the answer, then you are recreating. You train to get the information stuff on the back of your head. And this is about repeating and the tools. And the tools you use for that are pen and paper. There are some additional electronic tools, but pen and paper are the best ones, because the way from your hand writing to your brain is much shorter than typing or something like that. And many people say, I'm different, I can better learn with iPad or something like that. No, you're not. Use pen and paper. So the wrong assumptions, I've said something about that. Learning 10 hours straight without a break is a good thing. That's wrong. You need breaks each hour or so, because in the breaks the learning takes place. I'm a special learning type. Normal rules do not apply to me. No, the rules of forgetting and how long you can learn and when you have to repeat, there may be some variations, but for the most people it's really the same. And so you are really not learn best watching the whole course from Cloud Guru or Linux Academy and so on. No, you're not. You have to do it in small bits. And the other thing, what is the wrong assumption, is I'm not a good learner. Because if you're learning the wrong way, 10 hours straight, then you will not learn. That does not mean that you are a bad learner. That means you have a bad strategy. And I'm going to teach you a good strategy. And the other wrong assumption is AWS servers are too many to learn. This is right if you say, okay, I'm taking architecting and I am learning some services here, maybe EC2 here, and Lambda and serverless here. And if I do not repeat this one every time again, it will get lost. This will get lost. You have to repeat. So yes, you are not a good learner because you have the wrong strategy. And also with watching a video, you do not learn something. You get data input, but you do not process it and you do not store it in your internal RDS. So main thing, breaks are really vital. Learning takes place in the breaks. And in the breaks, you're not answering emails. No, you're not. And you're not answering Slacks. No, you're not. You are just walking around, smell the roses, so that your brain can work in the background and it's not focused with some other stuff. And the best thing is learning something before you sleep. So work smarter, not harder. So now about forgetting. What do you think? How long does it take after watching a video until forgetting starts? And how do you prevent forgetting? If you think about the brain like a muscle, use it or lose it. And that is really the thing. So timing is the key. And to have it a little bit operationalized, so really how you can do it, it's easy. How do you repeat? You repeat each hour, each day, each week, each month. And now, this was all the motivation. Now comes the real strategy, the procedure, and it's not so hard. The first thing is you learn. And the question is, how do you learn? With mind maps and pictures and with pen and paper. I have an example, not for a mind map, but you want to learn about EC2 pricing. Get a piece of paper and write down, for instance, on demand, reserved, savings plan, and spot instances. Make it large letters, make it colorful. I will talk about mind maps next weeks. So you are watching something, you are learning something, and you write it down. And this is the core information you want to learn. So what are you going to do now? If you have more than one learning session a day, you learn an hour. This should be an hour, and usually after an hour, if you do not repeat, your memory goes down. And what you are doing now, you take this paper and after the first break, so you learn an hour, make 10 or 15 minutes break, and then you recreate it without looking at it. So you learn it, this is 1 hour, and after that you put it away and you take a piece of paper, write down the day, today, and you ask yourself, okay, EC2, what are the pricing options? And the thing is, this way you recreate the things. You really train to do the things you have to do in the certification. You have to recreate. So, and then you think, okay, the first one I think was on demand. And this do not have to be colorful. The color thing is just that you remember it. The second, something like reserved instances. I know what that means. It's an abbreviation. No, you write reserved instances. And there was a third thing. I do not know what that was. And then, for instance, spot instances. That was the thing with the bidding instances. So, and you now had 1 hour learning. You put down the information on a piece of paper. And after the break, you write it down. Then you take back your piece of paper. Oh, forget one thing, savings plan. so failed. And then you say, okay, first hour failed, and that means after the next learning phase, the next hour, you have to repeat it. With a new paper, you have to repeat it after 2 hours. And this is until you have all 4 bits of information, and then you can promote this information to the next phase. And the next phase is the next day. So I have got it, and I will learn it on the next day. And that, yes, that means you have to learn each day. And if you have, for instance, this was the 1st of April, and that would be the 2nd April. And then the same thing. Tomorrow you recreate the whole thing, and if it's okay, you put the date for next week on that. So 9th of April. And again, you recreate it on a new piece of paper, and if you got it, you promote it to next month. And if not, you put it again in the loop for next day. That means that for the whole time, for the whole 2 months or so, you will all the time have recreated all the informations at least 4 times. And this way you have proven that you know it. It seems a little bit harsh, but if I am learning and I'm doing it this way, the amount of time I'm using is really, really small. If I'm not doing the proper repetition, the amount of time is really, really long. So if you not believe me, just wait a second. I have here some of my learning sheets. 21 from the main things. For instance, this is about deployment. And this is about metrics. And this is just the learning piece of paper. And I've recreated each sheet of paper, yes, 5 times or something like that. So, and next week I will tell you about mind maps. So, summary, not so hard to learn. If you do not repeat, if you do not recreate the information, you will lose it. This is the amount of information you have in your memory. This is the time you will lose it. If you repeat the information after an hour, after a day, you will hold the level of information. If you repeat it after a week, you will hold the level of information. If you repeat it after a month, you will hold the level of information. And if you prepare 2 months, or if you prepare 3 months, you will have a thick sheet of paper each day and each week, but it will be very fast, and you will be really sure that you know the things by heart. And how do you do that? In the first hour when you learn, you write something down, and this is your base for repetition. Then each time you make a repetition after the break, and in red or with another signal color, you write down what is missing. If something is missing, then you have to recreate it after the next learning hour. And if everything is okay, you just promote it from hour to day to week to months. That's all. And that is the secret. It's no secret, but not everybody is doing it. that is really a very good strategy to learn. And I have not learned that in school. I've gone to university and I've not read the book until the fourth semester, and after that all the certifications and the Klausuren, the test which I have to take, which I had to take with just learning and stuffing information in my mind, were very good. So my tip for today: try this, it's really good. And next week we will talk about mind maps for certification learning. So have a nice day. See you, and yes, build and learn. Bye bye.